You have Victor Ortiz up the street, and then you have Tim Bradley. Tell me about those two fights this weekend.
Well, everything's manageable. You know, coming into the fight, I knew that I had a busy schedule. That's the reason why I put a team together like I've always had. You know, one person usually gets all the credit, but it's not one person that does the whole job. We have a team. I have my brother, I have Jose, and my brothers are there, you know, in training camp with me. I trained a team for years so they could train like me, and they're always under my command. We're always communicating with each other, and everything rolls well, and every fighter knows that we work the same. So, you know, when I got the call from Al Heyman and said, hey, you know what, we got Victor fighting the same day, different venue, but we know that priority is Bradley because he had his date, and sure. So they gave me the time. Okay, Victor's gonna be fighting on Showtime Extreme early. It gives you plenty of time so you to be with Bradley. At the same time, you know, Bradley along, you know, his father James, and then Jackson, they're always with him. So all I have to do is, the work is done. The work is done already. We leave the work behind in the gym. We put in the work. Now we come here just to break a couple pounds and make the weight and just fight. So as long as I'm in the dressing room with them, and I'll bring them to the ring and guide them to a victory, that's all that matters.
Tim Bradley's one of the best fighters in the world. He already fought Pacquiao, beat him once, fought Marquez, beat him. If he takes care of Diego Chaves, who would you want him to fight next?
You know, unfortunately, we've never had that privilege, you know, that we always pick. Tim Bradley has been in a winning streak, you know, through his career, but it's always who they give him. It's not who he wants. Of course, you know, we would like the best fights possible. In the boxing business, we want to see the best fights, you know. But you know, next year, Tim Bradley is open to anybody at 147 that can be workable, because you know sometimes there's issues with promoters and they can happen. But of course, you know, Tim's up for anybody in 147. And at one point we talked, hey, if we have to move to 54, we can move to 54 and fight at 54 as well.
Who's the 54 for him? Vaness? Is it because they fought in amateurs?
Yeah, they fought in amateurs. They fought in I think in the trials. I think Vaness beat Bradley, but you know, right now there's better things for Bradley next year. At some point it was they spoke about him and Kell Brook.
Well, that'd be a good one. At
one point they spoke about Bradley and maybe Cotto or Canelo. But we don't know, you know, we'll see what happens.
Who wins that fight, Cotto or Canelo?
You know what, it's a 50-50 fight. You know, for me, I see it a 50-50. Canelo has the youth, Cotto has the experience, and at the same time right now, Cotto has built his confidence, man. After he beat Martinez, he's a stronger boy, and he made a lot of changes. He's a better fighter right now. He's a seasoned fighter, and Canelo has been winning, and his experience has grown. And I just honestly see a well-matched fight. You know, the best fighter that night, the hungrier man is going to win. You know, I just see a 50-50 fight.
My last question, Manny Pacquiao Algieri, what did you see? Because you faced Manny twice. What did you see in that fight?
What did I see in the fight? Well, I called the fight. I called the fight way from the beginning since that fight happened. I just think Algieri was just happy to be there. You know, it was just mostly hype. Algieri is a great athlete. He is a great athlete, and he has great boxing ability. But at one point in the fight, he had to exchange punches with Manny, and a lot of people don't realize that. But once you get in the first exchange with Manny and you feel the power and speed, then everything changes. You can have any thought in there walking in the ring. You can have any plan you want, but once you feel that power and speed of Manny, everything changes, you know. And that's what happened to Algieri. I said he was going to get in there because he's a big guy, you know, and he can box. He has great boxing ability. But the thing is this, he doesn't have the power for Manny to respect him. And you know, Manny, if you don't have power, he's not going to respect you. He's going to get in there, use his speed and power, and break you.
You know, talking about Algieri, his trainer has been criticized by a lot of fans who heard him and were saying that he was going to unleash him. He was saying, you know, this is a Chris Algieri show. Should his manager have been more realistic, or do you think he just felt that he saw fear or something in Algieri and he was trying to give him confidence?
I just think he just wanted to build confidence, and he wanted to put him back in the fight. You know, sometimes when you're in that corner, you try to use every tactic to bring your fighter into a fight.
Okay.
But I just think, you know, I don't see anything wrong. It's just that it was just a moment.
Okay.
The moment our jury was not ready for Manny Pacquiao.
Okay.
Yet.
With all the talks between top rank and Golden Boy fighters going back and forth, how come your fighter doesn't get talked for a fight with Floyd Mayweather? How come we never hear Timothy Bradley possibly fighting Floyd Mayweather? How come we never hear that in your fight in the sweepstakes there?
I don't know. Well, like I said, you know, Tim has not been privileged to be to have that position. You know, going back to the Ruslan fight, they gave me like 5 names, and you know, the very last name that I had for that date was Ruslan. I said, you know what? I'll take this one. I take this one, but the last guy I want to fight is Ruslan right now.
Okay.
And then when I said that, and then later on I realized, I said, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have said that. I said, that's the one they're going to give us.
Yeah.
And sure thing, a week later, they said, oh, well, this guy's not available. This other guy's not available.
Yeah.
So you have Ruslan. And I knew it.
Yeah.
Why? Because Tim always gets his way the hard way.
Okay.
I mean, I know there's a lot of fights out there for Tim. But, you know, like, for example, I mean, he was scheduled to fight Miguel Cotto December 6th.
Okay.
Last week, the weekend.
Oh, that would have been sick.
You know,
Yeah.
and it didn't happen because Cotto, you know, Cotto decided, okay, I'd rather wait because possibly next year I'll have a fight with Canelo. Now at the same time, we were looking into maybe an Alvarado, you know, something to come back, you know. But no, at the end of the day, we ended up with a Diego Chaves.
So getting back to Chaves, his last fight was pretty rough. There's been talk of what if it gets rough like that. He doesn't feel like it'll be that type of fight because Timothy Bradley's a different type of fighter. Are you expecting a rough fight from him, or are you expecting a different fight because it's not Brandon Rios in the ring with him?
You know, Tim is a very professional fighter. He behaves well and he follows orders. But once he feels that the fight's getting rough and bad intentions are being used, then he starts getting rough. But we're approaching this fight the right way. You know, he comes to fight. He comes to give the people what they want to see because Diego Chaves is a fighter that is there. You know, he's there for the fight. But at the same time, I really don't think that Diego Chaves is Diego Chaves' intentions. I just think that the moment in the fight with Brandon Rios was there because of Brandon Rios' character. I just think because Brandon Rios has that character, and that fight was meant to be. But with Bradley, it would be a little different.
How do you see it playing out with Bradley on Saturday?
I see early rounds is gonna be slow, you know, just filling each other out, and I see middle rounds they're gonna go at it. It's gonna be a fight of who breaks who, you know, and it's gonna be a tough fight. But at the same time, we prepare for the best and we prepare for the worst. If Diego Chaves gets a little frustrated and tries to use some sort of dirty tactics, you know, hey, we're gonna approach him the right way. When he knows how to approach, like he says, if he gets rough, I'll get rough, you know, but we're going to leave it up to the ref. I know the ref is going to have to do his job.
Okay.
You mentioned
he did a great career in 140, and then he moved to 47, and then he moved to 54, and he's been doing good. And Miguel Cotto's not a big fighter. I mean, he's not a big guy. And I just think that Tim, you know, Tim has fought fighters in that weight division. Late in his career, he was fighting at 152. So I just think that Bradley can handle a 154-pound fighter.
Cotto versus Canelo, who wins though?
You know, it's a tough fight. It's a tough call. It's a tough call because if I look at Canelo, I look at his youth, I look at his power, but at the same time, if I look at Cotto, I look at his experience. Look at his experience and his confidence because after beating Sergio Martinez, he looked really strong. He looked really strong, and to me, that's a 50-50 fight.
Coach, who do you give Fighter of the Year?
Fighter of the Year? You know what? I'm still going to go with Manny. I'm still going to go with Manny because Manny has done a lot. You know, whoever they give him, he fights. He doesn't dodge anybody. You know, Manny's he's a fighter that you give him a name, he'll fight. If you have a name or if you're a big name, he will not dodge anybody. And I just think that Manny deserves it. He's still in his prime. He's still in his moment, and there's a lot more for him up to come.
Absolutely. Last thing, message to your fans and Tim Bradley fans if they're watching this.
Well, the only message I can give to my fans and Bradley's fans is, you know, we're here. We paid our dues in the gym, and we're here to give the people what they want to see. I know a lot of people want to see Bradley win, and a lot of people want to see Bradley lose. But at the end of the day, we're giving them a show. You know, we're putting up a show for them. You know, we paid our dues in the gym. You know, he did his sweat, his sparring, and everything. He went through his running and stuff, just to give the people what they want to see. And you know, any support is good. We're just here to work, and hopefully everybody enjoys a great night of boxing Saturday night.
By the way, Coach, you're one of the nominations.